Diversify with superior tax-free vehicles. In this episode, we're going to answer the question, what linking methods are used with indexed universal life insurance? This is episode 9 of a series of 21 titled Secrets to a Tax-Free Retirement. If you invest a few hours learning from this series, I want to empower you to accumulate an extra $1 million that will generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income for as long as you live. My name's Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist, retirement planning specialist for more than 45 years. And my favorite financial vehicle for liquidity, safety, predictable rates of return, and of course I prefer tax-free, is what I call the laser fund because it spells that acronym. And so my preference is an indexed universal life insurance contract. And I have explained in previous episodes what indexing is. So the common question I get asked next is, so what are some of the linking methods used with indexed universal life? Now, a lot of times people will say, well, I want to diversify. And I'll say, yeah, I believe in diversification. Well, you seem to put a lot of your eggs in this basket. And I say, well, maybe 60% of my eggs in this. Well, is that diversified? And I go, oh, I am more diversified than 99% of financial advisors in America ever diversify their clients' money. But see, I believe in diversification into superior strategies and vehicles, not by putting money over here in a bank earning 1%, an inferior place to put my money for long-range goals, or out in the volatile market. That's not diversification. I want to have liquidity, safety, predictable rates of return, and tax-free advantages, all with my portfolio. So let me give you a glimpse into how I diversify. I have maximum funded universal life insurance contracts on me. I have several on me, some on my wife, some on my kids. Now my grandkids. I have some with this highly rated company, this company, this company, this company. I've had 6 different companies that I love as my favorites. They've all been around since the 1800s. They've weathered the Great Depression with flying colors, and I'm very picky which companies I choose. So I diversify by putting them on several different insureds. I have them with several different companies, and then I have them in different products with those companies. And then I diversify by using different linking methods. So let me give you an example. If I want to put my money into an indexed product and take a portion of my cash, let's say I have $1 million of cash value, and I want to assign 20% of that million, 200,000 to this index. I can do that, and it might be the Dow Jones. Another 200,000 over here to the S&P, another 200,000 to the Russell 2000, another 200,000 over here to the Barclays U.S. Dynamic Balance Index, and maybe the last 200,000 just sitting there in the insurance company general account portfolio earning 5. Now, many people do exactly what I just explained at our advice, and at the end of the year, they get one statement from that one company with all their diversified portfolio. And I remember looking at one in particular, and it said, well, you earned 10.5 in this one, 16 in this one, 21 in this one, 9 in this one, and 5% in the general account portfolio. And then it averaged the rate of return on all of those. That was extremely diversified in the various allocations, and it gave them an average return that exceeded 10%. So you can diversify by using different indices, the S&P, the Dow Jones, but you can also use different linking methods. So linking means I can choose to do a 1-year point to point. So let me explain what that means and some of the other linking methods that are popular. So probably one of the most common linking methods would be a 1-year point to point. That means that I pick a date. Sometimes insurance companies will only allow you to do it on the 15th of the month. Other companies say any day you want out of 365 days a year. So if I'm clicking along and it's April 15th and I go link, the money that I allocate in my insurance contract, it can be some of that money or all of it. I say I want to link 200,000 or link the whole million to the S&P, 1 year point to point. We wait 1 year and then we measure the difference in the S&P over that 1 year period. And then they credit me with whatever the increase was over that 12-month period. That is a 1 year point to point. Now, sometimes people go, ugh, I'm just sort of banking on what happened back in the year 2020 when COVID-19 caused the market to crash 33% in 30 days. Well, it depends on when you linked. But if you want to avoid that kind of a problem, you can tell the insurance company, many offer this option to do dollar cost averaging. So if you choose to link, they can take 1/12 of your money and link it in January 15th to January 15th. They can take another 12th and link it from February to February, March to March, April to April. And now you've got dollar cost averaging 12 linking dates, which smooth it out. Or you can tell the insurance company to credit me or link me with a monthly sum. And this is where they will average the difference throughout the year, and they will credit you the rate based upon the average on the monthly sum. Or sometimes some insurance companies will have what is called a trigger index. That means if the market comes up to a certain point, it triggers that rate. If they say, you know what, the trigger is 6.5% or 7%. If the market ends up positive from that year, okay, if it's positive, they will just pay you the trigger of 6.5% or 7%. If it's negative, then it's zero. You don't lose, but if the market was down, it means you did not get the trigger amount. So there's all kinds of different indices you can link to, and there's linking methods and time frames. I could link 2 year point to point. So I wait 2 years before I can measure. Now the question is, well, can I change in between? If you link 1 year point to point, you have to wait till the end of that year to change your allocation or put it back and have the general account portfolio rate or what have you. But if you choose 2 year, you have to wait 2. Some people choose a 5 year. That means you wait 5 years and there may be no cap, or people have earned 60 and 70%. If they had $1 million, 5 years down the road, they were credited with 60% or 600 grand because they waited 5 years to see where the S&P was compared to 5 years earlier, which most of the time is going to be greater. So those are called linking methods, linking dates. I can also diversify by choosing some to have a 0% floor. In other words, if the market loses, I don't make anything, but I don't lose. 0 is my hero. And then I'm capped, let's say at 11, 12, 16%. Some say, well, we'll give you a 2% floor so that on $1 million we'll still pay you 2%. If the market loses, that's 20,000. But now the cap comes down from maybe 11 down to 9, or from 16 down to 12. And so the higher the floor that you want absolutely for sure to be credited 2%, the lower the ceiling. Most of the time, we recommend people do the 0 is the floor, and then the cap is whatever it's stated at, or maybe there is no cap. Let me give you one other powerful strategy to think about. So in this series, you may have watched the episode that talks about if I had $1 million of cash value and I say link, they can only take the interest on my million. They can't put my million at risk. That has to stay safe. If it's 5%, let's say on the general account portfolio, they can take 5% of my million, the interest, 50,000, and buy upside options, and that gives them the wherewithal to pay me 10%, maybe 15% based upon the price of options and where the caps are. Do you know that there are sometimes opportunities where if you really feel bullish about America in a given year, maybe like an election year, you could instruct the insurance company to say, you know what, don't just take the interest on my million. I don't want to lose 40% if I guess wrong and the market crashes, but I'm willing to give up 7% of my principal. So on a million, not only do they have maybe 5% interest they're earning on the million, 50,000, but you just gave them authority to use another 70,000 of the principal. So that if the market loses, well, maybe your million drops down to 930,000, but you don't lose 40%. What do they do with that extra 70,000? They do the same thing they did with the 50,000 or the 5% on your million. They buy upside options. Do you know when people have done this? These are called multipliers or performance factors. Sometimes people, instead of earning 16%, have earned 55% by doing that. Now, that is the best way. If you want to go for it, make sure that you protect yourself so you never lose or give up more than you want, 5 or 7% at the worst. That's why I love indexed universal life, because zero is your hero, but if you really want to go for it, you can protect the downside and not be subject to a 40% loss if the market crashes. But you can participate on the upside even higher than a cap of 12%, 15, or 16%. If this is blowing you away, you need to read and learn more. So this is only episode 9 out of 21 in this free course, Secrets to a Tax-Free Retirement. Make sure you take advantage and watch all of these episodes. And if you would like to read my latest book called The Laser Fund, 300 pages of charts, graphs, explanations, and actual client stories, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for the book and I'll send it out to you. You pay $5.95 shipping and handling. You go to laserfund.com. Enter that information. You can also get an audio version or a digital version. There's an 18-hour masterclass if you want, but I want you to immerse in this learning and empower yourself how to diversify with superior tax-free vehicles.